least. So this is just showing you a slightly different perspective. Of course, here you can definitely see the stilts, but this is not the direction of travel. This is me just trying to get shots all around the tower.
Right.
Let's see what we have next here. Here's another aerial shot. This is Rim Road right here. I can, that's, okay, cool, let's do that. So, whoops. This right here, that's the corner in question. What my theory tells me is this is where the truck was parked, according to my theory. And with the truck parked there, you're having a line of sight through the trees where you cannot see the stilts at all. The only thing you can see is a hovering craft that matches the dimensions by feet and width and height exactly as described in the book.
Yep.
This is just a wider shot of the area out there. Here's a closer shot of it. Now here, for all the people that have watched my confession video with Mike, I want you all to know this was the background, and nobody saw that, and I feel kind of disappointed. So in the video right here, that's a picture of I think Mike or Travis. Oh shoot! Dang it! I'm sorry. Let me get that back. Anyhow, right on this side over here, that's a picture of Mike and Travis, or either Mike or Travis over here. And the opacity of this is fairly low, but I left that in there as a clue. The only person who picked up on that was Charlie, so I guess she wins the award. Here's a closer shot of it. So here's something else that's really important. The shift of the guys or girls that work in these towers is 5 days. They work 5 days on, they have 2 days off. 5 days on, 2 days off. 5 is an important number in this story.
So, and why don't you explain your theory about that 5 days and what that's attached to?
So my theory says that this is where Travis stayed, was in this tower. This tower is a far enough distance. It's 5 miles from where they would publicly say that the event happened. But yeah, you're staying in this tower. That's what my theory says. I'm trying to be careful with what I say here. That's what my theory says.
So just for the audience, when they brought them back to search for Travis, they went to a completely different area.
Yeah, so I can show you a map of that. Let's see, how can I pull that up? Okay, hold on. I'm trying to think how I can pull this up without showing other things at the same time. I'm sorry, I don't mean for you guys to think I'm sitting here trying to be secretive or anything or not
No.
I'm just trying to respect the terms.
No, I don't blame you.
No.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I appreciate everything you've done.
Okay, so let's go here. This is a map. This is just straight from Google. I want to make sure I don't have any exacting coordinates on here because I do want to respect the privacy of the site. I don't think I do. So this up here, this is the town of Heber. And what I've done here just on Google Maps is I've typed in the directions from Heber. You can see they're just going to the center of the town to the work site, we'll call it. And there's 3 ways to go. This is the way that I was told to go right here. You can see that Google says it will take 41 minutes, 16 and a half miles. I want to be really clear. This is a dirt road, off-roading road made for Jeeps, really. It's not graded. It has pretty steep inclines. I'm saying over here that the average speed, 5 to 8 miles an hour. This is accurate. It's a bumpy off-road made for Polaris Razors for people that are familiar with what the ATVs, 4-wheelers. This is the way to go. And Mike says that himself. He wish he had a 4-wheel drive truck, and I don't blame him. This is the typical way to work. This is the way that they went home. And Erica, thanks for asking, was that the first night that you guys had worked late? That is the testimony of many of the folks that night. I felt unfortunate that Mike didn't do that, but then again, he said he wanted to go to his log of, times, and I doubt we'll be hearing that. But this is the way that I was told that they went home. So here, the Arrow Turkey Springs worksite, this is where the Gentry Tower is. So going this way, you can see right here on Google, it's call it 26 miles, 25.9, call it 26. But the major difference here, you guys saw what Rim Road looked like in some of the other photographs. You can go 50 on that pretty easily, as opposed to 5 to 8 miles an hour the other way, which would be somewhere through here. So you're just hauling through here really easily. This is a paved highway, Highway 260, the 4-lane highway. So yes, it's longer, but Google is saying 45 minutes. I say more half an hour. And it's an easier way home. You're not bouncing in the car. It's just a smooth shot. So,
and so can I just ask you really quickly, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I mean, these guys were out there in the field. Wouldn't they know what this type of thing would look like?
Sure. So let's do this. Let's go to map stuff. Oh, you guys can read my text now too. Jeez, this is really invasive.
No, I'm sorry.
All right. That's all right. I volunteered to do it. All right. So let's pull up the town of Heber right here. Then let's go to where Snowflake is so people can see this on a map. Snowflake is up over here. So the way that, if you guys can follow my mouse here, the way that they would go is in between these sets of hearts here. And I know that people are going to try to pause when I click on the coordinates there. I would just appreciate that you guys respect that Travis wants to keep this stuff private.
Yeah.
Because I know that I'm not doing the best job here. I just ask people to be respectful. I'm not out here to trash anybody. Anyhow, so this is going to be we'll call it the as the crow flies, that's the way that they would typically go to work. When you're used to going this way, and the only reason these guys are in these mountains is to work. So it's not like they're out there exploring, adventuring. They go there to go to work. So let's be really clear on that. And if they're always being driven by Mike, let's also be clear on that. And they live way the heck over here. So Let's be clear on that too. So I think the question that you're trying to answer or ask me, Erica, is if these guys are working in this area, wouldn't they have seen that before? Is that what you're asking me, basically?
Yeah, yes, and yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to tell you that if that was the thought process of the folks involved with my theory, then it wouldn't have worked. And that was chosen for a reason, because it was safe per my theory. It's also important to know these guys would have no reason to be in this area outside of work.
Right. Thank you.
I also want to make it clear that I love the outdoors. I spend a ton of time outdoors. I mean, here I'm sitting in an RV. I'm in New Mexico at the moment because I came out here to watch the launch of the Richard Branson Virgin Atlantic. It took place right here. It was pretty cool. Anyway, I have seen a ton of lookout towers myself, and I want to make it really clear. Like, I work in media. My job is to pay attention to things. I thought that was a UFO myself. Like I was ready to quit out on working with this crew and have my own abduction. It fooled me.
And in hindsight, aren't you glad that you didn't do that? Because I'm telling you, getting abducted clearly is not the way to go with this crowd. But
well, if I could talk to somebody that actually was, I don't know, make my own opinion on that. Anyhow, So yeah, that would be the way to go to work. Now I know there's other people that have tried to reverse engineer the book. All these little white lines you see here, these are all forest roads. So I want to make it really clear. There's probably 100 ways to get to where you want to go. But for people that I call them Google Maps warrior, they've never been here. They don't know what this stuff looks like. And sure, you can sit around and draw little lines on a map and say, that's the way they went. Unless people come here, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
And that's the interesting thing that I see with this Skinwalker Ranch page. You see all these, which I understand that people, they can't get there, and so they're doing their best, and they're trying to get on and do the best they can.
Right. I also want to point out that you heard Mike multiple times on the interview tonight tell you that they were on Rim Road.
Yes.
Yeah. That's not that's I'm gonna stop. All right. So here is from the work site to Gentry. It's just basically straight along 300. It's 4.9 miles away. Some people will say, well, that's too far away. No, because this is the way home. You drive, if you go home the shortcut, which is shorter by time, which was the first time I'm told that they went this way. My theory says that, excuse me. I know it's getting annoying. But this would be how that would play out. Here is, oops. Here is a screenshot of, oops, let's see what's going on here. Oh, with a Gentry right there. So let me zoom in. Can you see it just perfectly sitting there on top of the tree line?
And the interesting thing, and I just want to say this, excuse me again for interrupting you, but I over the years, I've had so many people that have come to me and have talked about being out in the wilderness and seeing structured craft that it looked like there was scaffolding.
Yeah.
You know, and wow. Here you go.
I'm just pulling up these questions in case anybody has anything they'd like to say. I'm sorry for not paying attention.
No, you're doing a great job with everything.
Let me zoom back out here. So here, again, Rim Road headed west. They always tell everybody they're headed west. So again, that's another shot of Gentry just sitting there hovering. Here's a great slide, I guess. This is what I was trying to explain before. I know people are probably going to screenshot your video and everything else. I knew that before I put this up. So have at it, I guess. Here's what the towers look like on the inside. They're basically just like a studio apartment. There's a line in Fire in the Sky where they talk about there's a chair in the middle of the room or something in the middle of the room. And if you stand there, there's all these controls and you can turn and look out 360-degree views of the stars. I mean, yeah. There you go. I'm going to pass the next slide because there's information on there that I would prefer not to have show. This is the site where the this is what they call the abduction site. This is Rim Road right here. This is headed west. Let me see. I don't want that on there. Anyhow, this here is the old forest road that they would have made going to work. It just goes right along this slight ridge here where the arrow is pointing, old logging road. This here is where, this is how the event is described to, I don't know how to say it. This is the other site. This is the one that they say where it all happens, I guess. Right. Anyhow, this is the road. You can see here, this is just shot with my drone, but you guys can see this is a pretty steep incline here. So if the truck is down here, you can gauge height based off these trees. I would estimate these trees to be, 20, 30, 40 feet tall. If you're driving along here and this is steep and you have trees here, you wouldn't be able to see the UFO up there anyway. If I'm not mistaken, the original description was pretty small. On the Joe Rogan show with Travis, he even describes it as smaller than the room they were sitting in for that interview. So you wouldn't be able to see anything up there anyway. But that's just my opinion. But this is the site where they say this happened. The next slide is just a bigger aerial shot of it. I did find it interesting that they're picking this ridge line right here, because it's really the only one in the area. You see it's all pretty flat. You can still see that the work of cutting down the trees out there. What they were doing, I call it like zebra striping, is you're basically cutting stripes in there. So say a fire started over here, it doesn't have as much fuel to go burn down. I didn't know that people were doing that.
Okay.
Now, here's a thing that I want to point out, and I hope this person doesn't mind that I'm going to use their name, at least their screen name, but they have used the screen name quite a bit. His name's Robert Lee. What he says, assuming that that's the male with that name, I have no idea. But this road right here, can you guys see that? This road over here?
Yep.
That's what's called Old Verde Road. So what Robert Lee theorizes is, and the work site, by the way, is right here, right down here. Do you see where the mouse is?
Yep.
What Robert Lee theorizes is that the guys traveled on Old Verde Road. I already know that's not true. But the biggest reason why is, Robert, if you're watching, they don't have a way to get over there.
Yeah.
This is a canyon right here. And this is what happens when people use Google Maps to try to figure things out, to respectfully fit your theory, Robert. You can't get over there. This is a forest. This is a canyon. I don't mean to call you out, but I mean, since I saw the road, let's go back to.
And let me just say that you have been here.
Yeah.
You have been here.
Yeah, I shot these all myself.
I mean, and they're incredible photos, and so you have done your due diligence and then some.
Well, this is what respectfully is what I do for work. And
I want to just say that I mean, people in the chat room are just saying, props to you, and please look into Roswell next.
Oh, jeez. I've had enough. I think a lot of y'all are crazy.
Yeah.
All right, where were we?
Got that right.
Okay, we're going to go back to this Google Drive. Let's see what this is. Okay, so you see these things right here where my mouse is?
Yeah.
Those are water bars, basically. So my drone is hovering right here where I'm circling my mouse. And what happens is they look like a speed bump, but they go horizontal across the road. So this one's going to come like that, and it's going to channel water off of the road. It's pretty ingenious, really, keep the road looking nice. But those are in the book. They're called thank you ma'ams because they're just bouncing. They're also in the book called water bars. I want to be really clear. Those are only on Highway 300 Rim Road right here. Those are not on the self-made logging roads. Mm-hmm. The loggers aren't going to make those. These are put out by the Forest Service. Anyhow, let's see. I think this is just B-roll of me. This is the road where you turn to get up to the abduction site. Yeah, I think it's just B-roll of me turning. Get up there. All right. Okay, this is the actual old logging road this leads right to the abduction site. Let's play this, and I'm going to pause it and make it full screen. Let's wait for my truck to get out of the way here.
Also, Ryan, if you get a chance, can you
possibly
pull up that simulation that I created just so people can see what it looks like?
You're assuming that I have that saved in my Google Drive.
Oh.
I don't think I do. I might. I don't think so. If I do, then absolutely, I'll look for it. Anyhow, this is the old logging road. You can see the old ruts in the road there. This is my Ford truck. This is a full-size Super Duty. You can see that it's barely fitting through here, but this is new growth. I would argue that I don't know that my truck is any wider than this truck that they would have had back then. I don't think.
Right.
But regardless, you can see that if you go flying down this road, like some of the people want to believe, you're going to crash. This is like an obstacle course of trees and rocks, and good luck.
Yep.
Right? Like, again, before people come to a theory and want to go on the internet posting about how they're so right, why don't you go to the site first? You just end up looking like an idiot.
I agree.
Anyhow, that's the road. There's no way somebody's driving 20, 30, whatever, bouncing down. No. Well, maybe the bouncing down part. All right, that's the same shot, just without the graphics.
I want to just say that people in chat are like from all over the world, and I want to say thank you for hanging in there. I've said, I've heard Lou B was like, let's get some caffeine, and Steve is saying
I'll look at all these
3:30 in the morning, and so but it's like it's cool. So thanks for hanging in here with us, guys.
Yeah, thanks,
we appreciate it.
This is Travis Walton's first interview that he ever did. We can pass. It's just audio. Let's see, what's this? Okay, so this is the bottom of Gentry. I don't know what this building here is. It looks like it has a door that goes in there, so I don't have any idea. This is like a danger sign for electricity and stuff. I know that this is you put up pretty recently. This is all modern equipment. I think that everybody seeing this would agree with me. It's a shed. There's a generator here. Steve Pierce does talk about. So I had a friend that was coming to visit me before we had this planned. Can you guys give me like 3 minutes? I just see him pulling up.
Sure.
Is that okay? Yeah. Hold on.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's just decompress, Scott, because holy cow, I think this is the longest interview that I've ever done.
Well, tell you what, I didn't think it was going to turn into this, but
no, but you know what though, I can't think of a better way to spend my Friday night. Hanging with my friends, talking about stuff that I actually love looking at. We both do. And so I want to say, first of all, Scott, thank you. Thanks for arranging this. And I want to say there's a really great person here, Charlie, who is in Australia, who did a lot of work. And so we would definitely love to post her website as well, which we will do in chat. Scott, if you could do that, that would be great. But
it's a fantastic website she put together. And I went through the whole thing and read the entire thing. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's great. And thank you, Charlie. Thanks for being here again. And I will be reaching out to you. And again, thank you, everybody, for hanging with us. Wow, this is an adventure. And on a side note, if you go to UFOclassified.com and show your support for the show, then we'll be able to do a lot. We'll be able to do some really cool things, including what my passion is, which is archiving and preserving history. And as I progress and learn how to, move forward into this visual medium, I'll be taking you on a tour of my archives here. And you can see in the background, there's a picture of Anne Ruffle up there. And this back here, these bookshelves were bookshelves that I took from Anne Ruffle's home, and her husband made them. And so this is where these bookshelves were in her beautiful kind of an area where she did a lot of her research, and she could look out into the forest, and it was so amazing. And I will repost the show that I did with Alice Druffle and Druffle's daughter, so you can hear that, and also I'll post some pictures of when I was sitting there. So, I've got all of these things, and you can't see a lot of this over here, but I've got a complete collection of Fate magazine. I have periodicals from from all over the world. I have more books, historical books. In fact, I've got John Keel up there, Operation Trojan Horse, Donald Kehoe, all of these incredible things. So this is really, really, really it is a treat, and I want to share this with you. I can't wait for all of you to see this. And then also, as I begin to archive, which I'm doing, and Ruffles research, this is also going to be very important for all of us. So I appreciate your support and your back, Ryan. So awesome. But he's working on the unmute. Oh, whoop, sweet.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Let me get you back on my headset here. Okay, we good?
Yep.
You can hear me? Sorry about that. I'm sorry for everybody watching. I like to be as professional as I can, but I'm already in a hoodie and a hat anyway. So all right, so we left off here. Where I was trying to go with that is Steve Pierce mentions the sound of a generator. It sounds like a generator, which is UFO. It's right there. Just as a side note, that's right at the base of Gentry. I think this is more B-roll footage of just driving down the logging road. Oh, let me turn off the volume here. So again, this is Rim Road right here. I think everybody would agree with me. That's a really nice road for off-road. When I say you can drive 50 through that, I think most people would agree with me. This is the turn-off to the site, we'll call it. Look at the huge difference in road quality there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So this is this drive. You can see my truck. This is four-wheel drive, but you see it kind of teeter-totter. And I don't know how fast I'm driving. People can come to their own conclusion, but I wouldn't say I'm going any more than 5 or 6 miles an hour.
Right.
So this is what it looks like going to the site. I'm going to go here and look at the car. Are you guys interested in this? Seeing how everything looks going out there? Would it be cool if you guys
I think it's absolutely. I think it's fascinating.
You guys can see I'm sitting here looking at the comments and I don't see anything. No? Boring you guys to death, huh?
No, I'm in shock and awe, baby. This is
yeah. I'm just I'm shell-shocked.
This, for people that are interested, I'd be happy to put this Google Drive link out there. This is like a 400-page document of everything dealing with this case, from every interview, every newspaper article, every police report, everything. If anybody's interested, I'll just send this. I'll send it to Scott. You guys could put it on your website if you want.
Fantastic.
But yeah, I mean, here's the initial description: 15 by 8. For the record, Gentry is 14 by 8.
Wow.
So I mean, you can let's get past that. All right, so this is a photograph of one of the sites that allegedly has a tree ring growth. I just took this with my iPhone. I have a lot of other shots of this, but Mike Rogers cut this out, not National Geographic or anybody else. This was, or some, I don't know, UFO group, the police, Area 51 people. I don't know. Mike Rogers cut this out. All right. This is another tree sample here. I know that probably none of us in here are tree ring experts, but I've got a pretty close-up shot of it. This is the actual site from the ground. The UFO was allegedly right here where my mouse is circling, just in case. With another shot of these old trees. If you look at it, and again, like none of us here are tree experts, but you'll see there's no abnormal growth to this thing. It's not growing oblong or anything like they try to point out in the movie, any documentary. It's just a normal tree.
I think I could have swore there was a slice of a tree that was in Travis.
I have that.
Yeah.
I have that too. It'll be in here somewhere. This stuff is not in order, as you guys can tell.
But I mean, it wasn't tested by anybody with any kind of scientific background.
Yeah, that's correct. So this is another CL100 series cab tower. You can see this is how the lights would go. There would be a lens that go right over the top of that.
Right.
But that's how the lights look, in case y'all are wondering. Cool. Well, that's all right.
And I just want to ask, because this is a really great question here from Steve Wills, who was saying the area looks quite sparse in terms of the forest. Would the area have been dense with trees in 75? No.
But here, let's go back to this aerial shot. Let's go back to some of these aerials of that area. So you can see where the trees were cut right here, Steve. What their job is to cut the trees from Rim Road this direction. So their job was to get rid of the trees. So quite sparse in terms of a forest. Would it have been more dense in the trees? I want to be clear. I'm not an expert on how trees looked in 1975. I'm not going to claim to. The only thing I can tell you is that their contract was to cut the trees from Rim Road this direction down. If we go to this site, you can still see the remnants of that work.
And just make sure we specify that this is the location where they claim that it happened.
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct. All right, so let's go back here to this Google Drive.
And yes, thanks, Charlie. Charlie's in here in chat answering questions as well, so that's very cool.
Yeah, Charlie's a huge help. I just enjoy her. All right, so here is the text messages the day of the call. Again, I know y'all are going to screenshot this, so go ahead. But we're talking about Mexican food, which everybody's heard the call. Probably won't shock you. Here's the date. These are the timestamps. So I'm telling him I plan on calling you in about an hour. Will you be around? That's at 6:49. 6:50, yes, I will. 6:50 back, talk to you then. 6:51, will do. And something like a secret to whisper in your ear, that's at 6:51. Shortly thereafter, he calls me, and you guys have heard the recording from there. So this is this part right here. What's the secret if it's not what you all heard?
Right.
On my way back to where it was.
Oh, man.
All right, so this is, so I had mentioned this earlier to you guys. If we're going to go out to the site, then let's go on Monday. Given how many people were there last weekend, we cannot risk anyone overhearing what we're discussing. Well, who cares if we're talking about the story as told, right? Why would I say that? And he's saying, I agree. And then he's calm at changing the subject, but I must keep my actual address a secret. He didn't want me to know where he lived, and we met instead. Here, Saturday, May 1st, we had already gone to dinner, and we had left. He's asking me for ibuprofen. Fine. Here's the next morning. Okay, Ryan, I'm up now. It's almost 5. My leg is terribly sore. I can barely walk. Also, one reason I can't be found is my genius sons fixed the records. Well, I'm not going to go into that. I don't know how, but okay, fine. All except for being very slow. I seriously enjoyed the day in your company. Let's talk about this for a second. I am pitched as a groupie. I am pitched as somebody that came out of nowhere. Do you really think somebody would, like Mike or anybody else, would go out with me to the middle of the middle of nowhere? Would we be having conversations like this?
Right.
Where critical thinking comes into play.
That doesn't really happen here, but thank you for pointing that out. Critical thinking.
Here is the first Facebook message I had, which you guys have already affirmed, where we're talking about film production, film crews. Then, of course, there's pictures of Gentry. It's also really important to recognize we're not friends on Facebook. He likes to say that I'm his friend. But, okay. This is the mural that we were talking about. Nobody knows who painted it. That's what it looks like. This is what a CL100 series tower looks like at night. Now, this is not Gentry, to be clear, but it is the same model. I imagine this being covered in trees, hovering around the tree line. I don't know that anybody could disagree that looks exactly like a UFO. What are you saying? Are these transcript slides accessible to the public?
No.
I don't know what that means. Do you guys?
He just wants to know if these images are accessible to the public.
Oh, well, it's in the video. I guess this is all being recorded. This is another CL100 series tower at night. You can see how it just totally illuminates the area. This is not Gentry, to be clear. I don't even know where this is, but that is a CL100 series tower. Oh, that might be the end. I think that is the end.
Yeah, so
yeah.
I really would like to get that simulation up there.
Okay.
Let me let's see.
I don't want you to email it to me or text it to me. Actually, just text it to me. It will show up right here at the top of my screen, and I'll just click on your text really quick.
All right.
And next week, Scott, you and I are going to get on the graphics mojo with StreamYard. It's been a learning experience.
Oh, sorry, your phone number just was on there. Okay, you can go ahead and talk about that. While you do that, I'm going to get up and get a glass of water.
Okay.
Yeah, so after everything, I just took the time to take one of these fire towers, kind of throw some trees in front of it. And of course, like Ryan talks about, a lot of these fire towers, especially back then, they had lenses that they used that were colored, that they used for different things to give off different signals. So some of them had blue beams and red beams and green. So I threw a bunch of trees in front of this one that was, the original photo is exposed and it shows the stilts. But I wanted to kind of give an idea of what these guys may have seen.
That's beautiful. As always, your graphics are stunning.
It's kind of what I saw from his images that he was showing me. But, not being there at night with it lit up through the trees, and I kind of wanted to show people how that may have looked when they saw it.
Wow. Good job, Scott. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. That takes care of this. Charlie, she's not going to care. We're going to pull up her website really quick. Okay. Charlie, I don't know why you care.
And again, I just want to, while you're pulling that up, I just want to say thank you, all of you. I mean, I'm seeing new faces in the show, and I was obviously doing a podcast radio show. Wham! Holy baby, George Michael. Okay. Sorry, I just got distracted. Wake me up.
You have a crush on George
right
Michael.
There. You know what? I kind of.
All right, so here's Charlie's site. Sorry, Charlie, that you can't. That sounds funny. Sorry, Charlie. You're not here, but she has really done a great job, you guys. She really has. I'm going to go to her main point. She has it all organized here. Here's Mike's confession to me. Here's the slide that was used on my audio. Here is that's a quote by Robert Schaefer. Here's a quote by Mike Rogers to Paranormal Pop that Ryan Gordon claimed in the future he's going to be working with Robert Schaefer and they're going to put together a documentary about all of this. Travis told me a lot of this. This is confirmation of me. I'm just not some guy coming off the street like he likes to say. More pictures of how the towers are lit up. Built in 1965, the 70-foot Gentry Towers, 14 by 14. They work on 5-day shifts. Sorry, try just going through this fairly quickly to respect these folks' time. Here are actual quotes from, like, here's Steve Pierce in 2013 with Michael Vara, whoever that is. The thing is beautiful. It was a solid white, and you could see the window frames coming down from it. And then there was a frame in the middle of it. It was like two cake pans on top of each other, glowing white. Well, what do y'all think?
Yeah.
Here's a quote by Mike Rogers. Now, again, this story has changed since tonight, which is unfortunate, but it was more or less a white, sort of golden white. And that was just the panels because it had a framework. The bottom of it was reflective, looked like metal underneath, but they are, to hold the thing up, metal. It was all made of metal and covered in shiny, clean glass. It was glowing. It was actually lighting up the ground around there, but softly. I mean, you guys.
Yeah. Yep.
Here's my shot here. Here's Charlie pointing to it. I want you guys, if you're interested in this, to really go spend time on her website. She has her own maps here. She talks. You heard Mike tonight talk about a clearing where they would stop and blah blah blah. That clearing is right in front of Gentry, like right there.
Yep.
She goes back and forth. And she's again done such a good job.
Yeah, it's a great website.
Here's where they're talking about they worked late. This is also really interesting. So S. Pierce, that's Steve Pierce. Okay, let me tell you something. And let me get a source for this. This and other experts are transcripts from 2 1978 interviews with Philip Klass, with whom Steve was cooperating at the time. PK Philip Klass placed what he considered important speech in all caps. Okay, so let me tell you something. It was in his book, TW, Travis Walton. It says in the book that they worked hard all day, you know. Travis didn't do one thing all day. He stayed in the truck. He stayed in the truck all day. He was sick. He was supposed to be sick. Well, Travis was in the car that day, and Mike was gone that day. Mike said he wasn't gone. That was a lie. Did anyone ask him where he'd gone, PK Philip Klass? Yeah, but he said he was down the mountain working. So basically what's happening here, per Steve Pierce, is these guys, the day of this event, they're off doing their own thing. You can use your imagination what they're doing.
Yeah.
Here's Mike. Here is Charlie showing a Google Images thing with Turkey Springs. Here's that old Verde Road that I guys showed you on the aerial footage. So when you look at this, you could see how somebody like Robert Lee could say, oh, well, that's the way they would go home. What you can't tell in this photo is that huge canyon. Like, I think anybody would agree with me. You couldn't get across there if you tried. This is the problem with using satellite imagery.
Right.
So, again, I'm not doing justice to Charlie's site, and Charlie, don't call me after this and try to shoot me. But
no, it's very deep.
I'm not doing enough justice. She has done such a tremendous job here.
And her website is $3 kit.
That's correct. Yeah, $3 kit.
.weebly.com.
I think she has just $3kit.com now.
Okay.
Yep. anyhow, tons of stuff on here. Rather than just me continue to sit here and listen to a speech that I don't know that I signed up for, does anybody have any questions?
No. I don't think any of us signed up for this. I just want to say, but I mean, I
got to pretty much bow out pretty soon anyway.
Wow. Yeah. No. I think I'm going to. I mean, this has been this whole day. I think the past 24 hours have been. It's been pretty mind blowing for me, and just to go through this whole process, and again to just get to be shown different facts, information as it's coming in, and then to try to process things is always interesting. And so, Ryan, I appreciate your willingness to to reach out to us to talk about this. Like you had mentioned, your reputation, was called into question because you had allegedly doctored this conversation and things. And I think that, it's just important, and I will say again, I would love to hear from anybody else that is involved in this to give me a counter perspective on things. I mean, let's have a dialogue. Here is this information. Let's hear from all sides involved. But these are some bombshells. And so a question from Peter in chat is why has the tower theory not come out before now?
I don't know.
Because most people don't think anybody to that site.
Yeah. So shadowy spectrums, why haven't you looked around on Google Maps to see the tower yourself, respectfully? I don't mean that in an offensive way, but why haven't you looked yourself?
I mean, and I love, I mean, and I think he's asking a very, it's not, I know him, he's been on my show, and I don't think it's an offensive question. I think he's, you know what I mean? I think it's asking like, okay, this is, so why hasn't this come out? And I think,
I don't know. I don't know how to answer that.
No, but I think that this is, and you, Ryan, when we were talking, it's, I will say I'm not the first person who has looked in depth at this case, because there's so many places to go. There's so many things that I've learned, and then I follow a rabbit hole and go down and learn things that I'm particularly interested in. And then, but if anybody actually spent the time doing the kind of investigation that you've done, then maybe we could come to a better resolution, because most of us just get online or we get on YouTube and we're looking at the bright shiny carrot, and then we're going to be told by Lou Elizondo or all of these people that are presenting a nice little wrapped up narrative that this is where we should go. And at the end of the day, it's like, get off your and do some research, ask people questions, hold people accountable for making up narratives, hold people accountable for saying that I work for, the Department of Defense and I'm this elite trainer and I'm doing, A, B, C, and D. But yet when you get exposed, you have this fan club that is supporting you. And I mean, it's just like, give me a break. I mean, people in this subject need to get a freaking clue. We deserve this. We deserve better than this.
I just want to say, Charlie says, and I agree with her completely, is that the tower was too far away from the location that they claimed the abduction was at. So if it was so far away from there, then nobody's going to make that connection, because those two locations are so far from each other. And I think Ryan seeing it, having the impression that he was seeing a UFO, and he realized exactly what this was all about. I think that's what happened.
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, I'm not sure.
But I mean, nobody ever looked at the tower because the claimed abduction site was so far away from that tower that nobody would have put those two pieces together.
I also would like to know how many researchers, either pro or con this story, have gone to the site.
Yeah, that's another good question.
Or how many people, and this is the thing that I always, with my research about certain topics I obsess about continually, it's like, how many people have just gone beyond believing what a specific person is saying? It's like, oh no, this person is great, he's a pillar of the community, or he is doing A, B, C, and D, and we would never question him. He is a God-fearing man. And it's like, okay, good luck to you. I guess that's why the world's kind of going down in a handbasket, but you probably might want to ask some questions about things in this field especially. We should know better. This is the Wild West. How do we not expect to ask? Why shouldn't we be asking questions? And why should people that we ask questions of, run away and say, oh, no, it's the government, you're from the dark cabal, you're an agent sent to discredit us. I mean, come on, give me a break. But I really feel strongly that this is going to be a pivotal show, clearly. And I think that we're going to do good things, and this is important. So Ryan, thank you for coming forward. You weren't going to do this, earlier in the day, and I want to thank Mike as well.
I think I've still. Did you say I didn't want to do it?
Well, I think that you were a little guarded. You said you would do it, but I think there was a point to which you would go. And I think
I've maintained those. I think I've kept myself in that box. I hope I have.
You've been.
I want to make clear to everybody again, this is nothing but a theory. I'm going to keep saying that. People are welcome to interpret that any way they want, but it's a theory. That's all.
Well, I appreciate it because I've been. Incredible.
Here's those 4 questions here on Charlie's site. I mean, seriously, you guys, this is not some claim to fame of some magical polygraph, blah blah blah. Like, there's nothing here that's all that cool. I don't think.
No.
Anyhow, I'm going to wrap up. I've got my company here. Again, we weren't expecting anybody to come. But is there any other question?
No, I'm good.
Thank you, Shadowy Spectrum. I appreciate you writing that as a theory. It's been coming on 46 years. I appreciate the compliment. I think that people should go here and check this out. And I appreciate the support and getting rid of all these accusations that I manipulated some phone call. I saw somebody else ask hours ago, how many does Ryan have more information or more calls? Everything I have with these guys is recorded. Everything is I have hours and hours with Mike and others. So I don't have any intent to release that. It's not what I'm here for to on some kind of smear campaign.
So I mean, Ryan, what at the end of the day after this interview, what do you think people will do in a reaction to this? What do you predict happening?
I predict that they're going to say that I'm crazy. I wouldn't be surprised if they say that I'm like the rebirth of Philip Glass, some weird CIA disinformation agent. I wouldn't be surprised if I'm half alien myself, or
you're on the dark Kabbalist with me. Sweet.
That's right. Yeah. I went through a portal at Skinwalker Ranch, and here I am.
Well, I've heard that story before.
I think it will just be to discredit me. That's already happened. I'm a nobody. I don't do this. I hope I've made a good enough impression with everybody tonight that's what the allegations against me are not accurate.
Absolutely.
And if people think that I'm some kind of weirdo, well, that's, I guess, okay too.
I think that you're a weirdo who actually has done your homework, and I mean, thank you. This is incredible. And so, where can people find you and connect with you?
I've never. Yeah, I see that here. I've never been in a position where I've done anything like this for a show like this. I've never given public interviews on shows that I've done in the past.
Wow.
The only reason I'm here is because of the allegations made against me. My reputation means a lot to me. I think that I don't know how to answer that question because I am not set up for anybody to contact me.
Okay, great.
If you have any, Erica and Scott, they have my contact information. If you want to send them something, maybe we'll meet again in a month or so and go over some more questions. Perhaps I don't know.
You.
That's up to them. It's their show.
Thank you.
But,
absolutely, I would love to have you back, and thank you.
Yeah. All right. We've got let's say 5 more minutes, and then I want to go spend time with my company.
No, absolutely. I mean,
if anybody has any last questions they'd like to ask, we're on 4 hours now for this interview.
Groundbreaking on many levels.
Oh, I don't think I've ever been on a 4-hour podcast.
I've never done one, and like I said, I think this is going to be a lot for us to digest. And granted, I'm sure people will be picking this apart and bring it on. So that's all I can say. You've done incredible.
Don't believe me. Just believe the evidence. I'm not here to sell anything or have anybody believe me. I don't know that I really want a bunch of UFO fans.
Right, and you've always went with the fact that it's your theory.
That's correct, and I would appreciate it in the title of the video that if you do state anything dealing with this, I would appreciate from a production side if you guys always promote this as just a theory, because that's all it is.
Right.
Yeah, cool.
I think all of this is just a theory, and I think that's an important thing. Right. But thank you, Ryan. I hope you have an incredible evening. Go relax and chill, and I'll be touching base with you. And what a whirlwind! But I'm happy to get to know you.
Yeah, it was nice to meet you as well.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah. Any questions here?
I think everybody's in shock and awe. And Charlie just said, "Yeah, thanks for talking to Ryan, and hopefully I can get Charlie on the show." And wow, I'm in shock.
Yeah. There's Victor. I've talked to Victor before. Victor would make a great reporter.
Well,
he likes to ask questions.
Well, that's good.
Anyhow.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. I guess we'll wrap up. Nice to meet you guys.
All right, guys. Nice to meet you.
You too.
Yep.
And thank you all for being here. And I just what a night, Ryan. Take care. Have fun with your friends, and I will catch you guys next week. I don't know if we can top this, but we'll give it a try. But
right.
Ryan, I'll bring you back. So thanks, you guys.
Yeah. Take care.
Right.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.